A very good evening and a warm welcome to UBC News Tonight on this 3rd day of May 2023. Now, before we get into tonight's news bulletin, let's first take a look at the top stories tonight. Tonight, 8 confirmed dead in Chisoro landslides. UPDF sets commission of inquiry in the murder of minister. Intern doctors undergoing patriotism training. And in sports, Team Uganda enhances training ahead of Netball World Cup. Good evening once again and welcome to UBC News Tonight. I'm Lauryn Masiika Kazimoto and my colleague Elizabeth Nakakoni on sign language interpretation. Now we start off with UPDF top leadership has set up a commission of inquiry to probe circumstances under which the State Minister for Labour, retired Colonel Charles Okello Engola Makodwogo was assassinated by his bodyguard, Private Sabiti Wilson, attached to the UPDF. Now the UPDF spokesperson, Brigadier General Felix Kulaije, appealed to the public to stop speculation and wait for the report soon to be produced by the inquiry commission set up by UPDF top leadership. Saddam Mubale reports.
Uganda People's Defence Forces has dismissed speculations on social media surrounding the assassination of the State Minister of Labour and Industrial Relations, retired Colonel Charles Okello Engola, by Private Sabiti Wilson, who had been deployed as a bodyguard to him. Following the assassination of Minister Charles Engola, the UPDF top leadership has set an ad hoc commission of inquiry to investigate circumstances under which the minister was assassinated by his bodyguard. Speaking in an interview, UPDF spokesperson Brigadier General Felix Kulaije appealed to the general public to avoid speculations and wait for the detailed report from the Commission of Inquiry.
Because we are not yet sure whether that was the cause. Because a board of inquiry has been established under Brigadier General Gumayo to investigate the circumstances of yesterday's unfortunate incident. And allow me to express my condolences to the family of Honorable Colonel Charles Engola Machodwogo Okello.
Responding to social media report that a bodyguard had not received his allowances and salary, Brigadier General Kulaije revealed that UPDF had paid salaries of soldiers and allowances of those on special duties prior to the assassination of State Minister by his own bodyguard.
Now, particularly on yesterday's incident on Sabiti, the question of welfare cannot arise. One, we were paid on 28th of April, of our April salary, all of us, because it is one pay. Secondly, we have now gathered on the eve of Labor Day, Honorable Charles Engola gave each soldier 40,000 shillings as their 2 days allowance. So, where did these fellows get the speculation of pay?
Brigadier General Kulaije also dismissed reports that Private Wilson Sabiti had mental health problems, having completed a military course as a junior non-commissioned officer in Jinja Academy.
People are speculating about the discipline of Sabiti. He had just come from a junior resource course in Jinja. He was in my class, I taught them. So when you say he had a perpetual discipline issue, where have you gotten it from? Why don't we allow the investigators to do their work and then we shall get the truth of this matter?
However, cases of senior high-ranking officers mistreating bodyguards deployed to man their security are often reported to UPDF disciplinary committee, but what remains unclear is whether the officers are brought to book. Brigadier General Kulaije appealed to the high-ranking officers entitled to bodyguards to respect and treat them well.
Father and son. Because this person is out there for your life. But most importantly, he is a human being. For example, there are people who go to bars and sit there up to 1 and the escort is outside. I mean, you don't expect this individual not to react after some time. Or others who go sit in restaurants, serve meals, you come and you go. This poor fellow since morning, maybe even he left without a cup of tea, has had nothing. So, me, I cannot rush to judge a soldier unless I've established the circumstances.
In the recent time following across some murder and suicide cases committed by UPDF soldiers, the public has been questioning whether UPDF offers psychosocial counseling support to its men and women in uniform. However, Brigadier General Kulaije confirmed the existence of the services playing down cases of mental illnesses among UPDF soldiers. Sada Mubale, UBC News.
The owner of the salon in which the bodyguard to the State Minister of Labour, retired Colonel Charles Engola, killed himself, want financial support to relocate her business for continuity. Prosi Namubiru says the trauma her workers go through is not favoring business resumption, and she is pessimistic of clientele return. We have details in this report.
By press time at the scene in Changia, the owner of Shamo Unisex Salon, Prosi Nambiru, has embarked on the cleaning of the facility after security clearance. This is the place where the slain minister's bodyguard, Private Wilson Sabiti, killed himself after shooting his superior to death.
They told us you can open.
What are expectations after resumption?
I don't know yet, but I'll try and see. I don't know yet.
Process seeks support to relocate her salon business for continuity.
I'm planning, if I can get some help, maybe I can shift to another place. That's my plan. I'll change the name, repainting, and I'm going to shift. I won't paint. I'll just get another place and change the name.
She is skeptical of her client's return after this tragedy.
I think they'd already closed the place. The police had taken over already.
The furniture you were going to change?
Yes, like the chair. The guy was sitting in. There is some black chair the guy was sitting in.
Despite working with a team of 6, other teammates vanished since the incident, and replacing the destroyed property has become hard for Prosi Namubiru. The trauma around the place has put surrounding businesses on standstill as customers hold fresh memories of gunshots.
wasibe era kati n'abalala n'abaguddewo nabeera abantu batya kubanga wonna batya omuntu okuga ane wafiiriddewo omuntu tebakoze kubanga nange olwajjo saakoze abantu badde bajjudde wano wonna.
All these events followed the incident of the one Private Wilson Sabiti, who killed his superior, the State Minister for Employment, Labour and Industrial Relations, Colonel retired Charles Engola, and also killed himself. Abdul Nasir Lubwama and Andrew Sebila for UBC.
As Ugandans mourn the untimely death of retired Colonel Charles Okello Engola Machodwogo, here at UBC we attempt to unravel his immense contribution while he served as State Minister for Defence and daring service in the UPDF 501 Brigade. Haruna Mutesasida filed this report.
It was a dark Tuesday at Chanje village that lies east of the capital Kampala, when natives woke up the sad news of the gruesome assassination of the State Minister for Labour, Employment and Industrial Relations, retired Colonel Charles Okello Engola Matchdog, by his bodyguard identified as Private Wilson Sabit at his home. Retired Colonel Charles Okello Engola Matchdog had earlier served as Brigade Commander of UPDF 501 Brigade in Gulu at the peak of the LRA war, before he joined politics to serve as LC5 chairman of Oyam District, MP Oyam North County, and subsequently being appointed as State Minister for Defense between 2016-2021.
Wakuje waangalie na macho alafu warudi huko. Na wakirudi huko nikileta shida yangu ya jeshi, kwa maana wamekamilika na vitendo ambavyo jeshi inafanya na vita ambavyo natendeka hapa, wanaweza kanifanya nini? Wanisaidia.
While in the military, Colonel Engola was the commander of UPDF 501 Brigade with its headquarters at Opit in Gulu district. 501 Brigade was pivotal in dislodging Kony's Lord Resistance Army in areas of Gulu and Chitugumu between 1995 to 2000. He was always a fearless commander, specialized in artillery and a gun of LMG and PK machine gun. He was promoted to the rank of colonel and retired from the military in 2007. During the LRA war, President Museveni commended Engola for his role in the fight against the Lord Resistance Army insurgents, which brought an end to the two-decade war in northern Uganda. Upon his retirement, Colonel Charles Okello Engola joined active politics and was much loved by his people of Lango sub-region. Was appointed Minister of State for Defense on 6 June 2016, replacing General J.J. Odong. While serving as Minister of State for Defense, he led a committee of members of Parliament on Defense Committee for an oversight visit in Mogadishu, Somalia, assess UPDF troops' performance and challenges.
Kuona kitu gani na nini inaendelea na UPDF hapo kiwanja kwa kiwanja fasi yote ambayo UPDF iko, alafu wakirudi huko wanafanya report ya kwao.
He always urged the soldiers to be disciplined and respect the army's structure command.
That is discipline. Discipline unaanzia kwako pale. Unafuatilia hizo kutokana na respect ambao uko naye kwa mkubwa yako. Mkubwa yako anaanzia kwa section commander paka wapi? Paka ile ya juu.
Now, one would wonder why a man who fought tirelessly defending the army could be killed by a UPDF soldier assigned as a bodyguard to him. Your answer is as good as mine. Haruna Mtesasira, UBC News.
Tributes to fallen Labour and Industrial Relations State Minister, retired Colonel Charles Okello Engola, have continued to come in. The latest to condole with the bereaved family is State Minister for Housing, Princess Persis Namuganza. Her account of the deceased is as fresh as that of one that is still living. Now she have jointly organised and held Labour Day celebrations in Namutumba district. Henry Okurut reports.
Just the other day, precisely on Monday 1st May 2023, the duo was in the Eastern District of Namutumba, overseeing Labour Day celebrations. A day later, one of them was no more. Colonel Charles Engola succumbed to gunshot injuries inflicted on him by one of his bodyguards.
We were in close touch since that time when he presented the cabinet memorandum of celebrating the International Labour Day, which was said to take place in Namutumba district, which is my district. I talked to him when he was moving right away from Karamoja, where he went to meet General Salim Saleh, and he told me he was exhausted, but he was confident that I was in the district, so everything was going to move on well.
To her, it was at first unbelievable, but as it turned out to be true, she is still coming to terms with it.
Little did I know that he was going to depart from us soon. After the function, we saw them off and we wished them journey mercies. And indeed, he reached Kampala safely. Unfortunately, on that day when we were having our cabinet, just got the sad news when I was also preparing to leave home that the late had been shot dead.
As she recounts the deceased's last moments, his memory remains fresh.
He has been an energetic man, but in his energy, you would see kindness. He had told me that I've been to Karamoja meeting General Salim Saleh, and I have operated in Karamoja before. I want to go back to Karamoja to make sure that those people of Karamoja are helped so that they get out of the situations they're in.
Colonel Charles Engola was shot dead by one of his bodyguards, Private Wilson Sabiti, who later also shot himself. Engola, who was Member of Parliament for Oyam North County, was also serving as State Minister for Labour and Industrial Relations. Henry Okrut, UBC.
May his soul rest in peace. Now, Prime Minister Robin Nabanja has asked health workers to adhere to their ethical code of conduct while serving the public. Nabanja was addressing intern doctors undergoing a 2-week ideological orientation training at the National Leadership Institute, Nali, in Chankwanzi district.
Nabanja says whether health workers are working in the public sector or private must adhere to professionalism, which is key to service delivery. Nabanja castigated the unethical behaviors of health workers who think of striking every time they are faced with unresolved challenges by government.
Your profession is a calling to prevent sickness and promote health, and treat with compassion those who fall sick and find themselves in your hands. Those for supervision, the Ministry of Health for supervision. If we don't supervise, Ugandans forget easily. So that you can remain vigilant and adhere to your professional conduct.
Nabanja appealed to the intern doctors to take the knowledge acquired at the Leadership Training Institute serious in their career development.
I believe I have started already equipping you. You will be equipped with knowledge for improving service delivery. And as a leader, you are partnering with government to serve your nation.
She urged the health workers to be ambassadors of government in preaching unity and development.
And inform your communities that we need development as priority number. We also need security.
Dr. Musa Lumumba, the president of the Federation for Medical Interns and the course coordinator at Nali, says the training has come at the right time to prepare them in their career.
Before coming here, our agenda was we go, striking to make sure that our issues, our concerns are addressed. I've as well been oriented on how do we handle issues when we have challenges, how do we handle issues when we have differences. So we are moving out of this place knowing that Uganda loves everyone, Uganda is for everyone. Uganda.
Brigadier General Charles Chisembo underscored the importance of leadership training to all Ugandans.
Is really in a deplorable state. Something Mama needs to be done. Bukwiri to hear, at least that section, if it could be tarmacked. Knowledgeable with a strong sense of perseverance, integrity, committed to serving their motherland, committed to serving their motherland.
The first batch of intern medical workers is at Nali for the leadership and ideological orientation training to serve the country.
8 people have been confirmed dead in Biza village, Chiwumba Parish, Murora sub-county in Chisoro district. Those among the dead, 6 are from the same family, and they have been identified as Uamaria Gladys, Chilidesi Muchunguzi, Yasoni Twezine, Junior Yaturinze, Desire Dia Safini, and Nyiraneza Provia, and others dead identified as Weneza Rachel, Amutwa, and Kajungu Nelson. The heavy downpour that lasted over 4 hours started at around 10:30 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the night.
According to residents, the heavy downpour started at around 10:30 p.m. with running water pouring from the hills. Amidst these heavy rains, landslides started breaking, claiming lives of people in the rubbles. But what do the locals say about this disaster?
Nk'abaturage icyo twaturugusaba ngo twikoremo umurimo kugira ngo kubera aho dutuye ari habi kandi kabariho tufite tutaje ahandi twikangane tumenya ngo mfitaho nteye igiti.
And the root cause is the heavy rainfall, the steep terrain, and the poor agricultural practices.
Leaders in Chisoro district who visited the scene attributed the disaster to deforestation, overpopulation and poor farming methods.
Put back the ridges. Here they call it paka chini, paka juu. We have to cut the ridges throughout all these hills so that when rain water comes down, it finds the ridges and then the speed is reduced. It also reduces on soil erosion. Two, I've asked them to plant trees along the ridges. Like in this home where the old man has lost the family, there were trees, but 2 trees were near the kitchen and the kitchen has survived.
We are suffering from those bad farming practices and also the changes of rains, which are now more than they used to be. But this kind of sheet erosion, these are sheet erosions, that's how they used to teach us. Soils going in a big area at once and moving without anything stopping them because they are not trees and causing danger of wasted cropland, houses gone.
These rains also affected villages of Rubanda and Ruchiga. In these villages, the mudslides claimed 3 from Rubanda and 7 from Ruchiga district, bringing the total of the dead to 8 in the whole of Kigezi sub-region. Kigezi region is among the areas in Uganda currently receiving heavy rains. On Saturday, a group of people were brewing local waraji along Rushaya River in Kagorogoro village and were washed away following the flooding of the river.
A 4-year-old dead body of a female twin has been recovered in the mudslides that occurred in Butera village in Buhurira sub-county Kasese district, which also severely injured 2 people and a family displaced. In these landslides, livestock was also lost and property destroyed. At the moment, the affected family has nothing to return to.
A 4-year-old girl has died and 4 others injured in a house that was buried by landslide debris in Butera village, Buhurira sub-country in Kasese district after heavy rains devastated the area for hours. According to Musala Hudson, the LC3 chairperson, Buhurira sub-country, the regurgitated incident has not only claimed a life and injured others, but also livestock was lost.
Due to too much heavy rainfall, the landslide happened in this area, taking the life of 1 child of 4 years and 3 of the family members injured, 3 goats dead and 3 chicken dead also.
Hudson also believes that the area is not safe for human settlement and is asking the community members to look for safer zones.
We are kindly asking the community to be away from this area, to shift, to look for other areas which are very okay, not very sloppy.
While addressing the community members, the OC station, Buhurira Police Station, Okata John Francis said there must be a distance between the house and edge of the landscape when constructing in sloppy areas to give leverage in case of a landslide.
The advice I will have to give them is this area is full of, it is a fertile area and the soil is soft. They should, whenever they plan to construct their houses, they should locate area, a strategic area, whereby a person knows that if I construct a house here, I will be safe. It is not just a matter of locating anywhere, and then you then you put a house.
The chairperson LC5 Kasese District, Mr. Muhindo Erifes, said the use of terraces could partly minimize the occurrence of such disasters.
But we have also encouraged them that in the mid-term and long-term, there is a need to conserve the environment by planting trees, ensuring that they put terraces, so they could put contour bands so that they are able to contain the running water that has affected the area by putting their gullies and ridges that have affected the area.
This brings the total number of deaths to disaster in Kasese within a period of 3 weeks to 4.
The Anti-Corruption Court has scheduled May 4th, 2023, a date to which considerations will be made to either grant bail to embattled Junior Minister for Karamoja Affairs, Agnes Nandutu, implicated in the plunder of iron sheets meant for the vulnerable people in the volatile Karamoja sub-region, or retained in prison. Minister Nandutu presented 3 sureties and documented medical reports concerning her health conditions for court to grant her bail.
The State Minister for Karamoja Affairs, Agnes Nandutu, has reappeared at the Anti-Corruption High Court in Kololo to face charges leveled against her in the plunder of iron sheets meant for the vulnerable people of Karamoja sub-region. Before Judge Jane Kajuga Akuo, through her legal team, Nandutu asked the court to be granted bail upon presenting sureties and medical documents on her health condition.
The applicant has a swelling involving the entire left foot. The doctor says that the applicant needs specialized treatment.
Those who stood sureties for Minister Agnes Nandutu were Nangoli Gerard, a member of Parliament for Bulambuli, and the chairperson of Wogishu Coffee Cooperative Union, Nandara Nathan Mafari, member of Parliament for Budadili West, and Kamoti Milton Apollo Wasunguli, LC5 Bududa District. The embattled Agnes Nandutu also deposited her residence land title to court to be granted bail. Prosecution led by Jonathan Mwaganya opposed the bail application with an affidavit sworn in by Detective Assistant Superintendent of Police Ayebale Emmanuel Benon.
Grave illness has to be certified by a medical officer of the prison as being incapable of adequate medical treatment. We submit that ill health must be properly proved.
He also cited that the accuser avoided police bond, preferring to keep in hiding since 14th April 2023 until she surrendered herself to police, which followed her arrest.
In the several cited averments in the affidavit in opposition, prove that the accused is very likely to abscond. Is that you find that the antecedents of the applicant are not favorable for release on bail.
In a related development, court confirmed charges of dealing with suspected property by State Minister for Karamoja Affairs Agnes Nandutu. However, Minister again pleaded not guilty to the alleged offence.
It is stated that you, Nandutu Agnes, between the month of June and July 2022, at the office of the Prime Minister's stores in Namamve and in Kola Cell, Bulwanyi Parish, Mukono Municipality in Mukono District, dealt with government property, to wit 2,000 pre-painted iron sheets of Gauge 28 marked Office of the Prime Minister. In other words, what is your answer to the charge? Is it true? Is it not?
I plead not guilty.
In this case filed before court, 3 court assessors have been appointed to preside over this case. These include Seguya Rubega, Namayanja Sarah, and Joanita Rose.
I, Vega Robert Seguya, that I shall efficiently advise this court in all matters pending before this honorable court. The best of my knowledge, skill, and ability, so help me.
Due to the length of the submissions from both sides, Court set forth May 2023 to deliver a ruling, and on 25th April 2023 to proceed with the main case for pre-hearing. Deborah Namamonde, Susan Nabugudde, UBC News.
Also in UBC News tonight, we bring you the President's message on the death of the retired Colonel Charles Engola, and it reads, fellow Ugandans, condolences on the death of the retired Colonel Charles Engola. Retired Colonel Charles Engola was a lion. I first saw him in Lubiri Barracks before it was returned to the Kabaka, manning a 14.5mm anti-aircraft gun in 1986. Later, he became an infantry commander in the Minakulu area. That is when he got his Machodwongo Chikubu praise name. Mach in our Luo language means fire, and Dwongo means coming back. The peasants who gave him that praise name meant that when he took command of the army in the area, people were able to make fires again in order to cook and warm themselves. Before Okello defeating the Konyi terrorists in the area, people were in hiding, fearing to make fire so that the terrorists do not see the fire and come for them. On account of that popularity, he was elected LC5 chairman and eventually member of parliament. I was very happy to appoint him a minister of state. His killing by his bodyguard was a crime, a big crime to patriotism in Uganda. We would have hunted him to exact justice on him. Unfortunately, he took his own life, hence we did not have that opportunity. There is an ongoing investigation. I await the conclusion of that investigation before I comment on the security of public officials and the mistakes made and how we will rectify them. Signed, Yori Kaguta Museveni.
With freedom. Get MTN Freedom voice bundles that don't expire. Dial *100 *21# or my MTN app for more bundles. Together, we're unstoppable.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
Their support meant so much to me, and as a teenage girl, I stayed focused and was protected from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. I will support other girls against child marriage and teenage pregnancy.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sawuti 116.
Glow as you are with the new Spark 10 series smartphone from Airtel in partnership with Tecno. Own the timelines with picture-perfect selfies using the 32-megapixel selfie camera, 256GB storage, G88 gaming processor, and a strong battery to last the whole day. Haha! Toakana.
The Spark 10 smartphone comes with free 3GB from Airtel and 100% bonus on weekly and monthly bundles every month for 3 months, so you can stay connected to a world of possibilities. Dial *100*5# to enjoy free data. The new Spark 10 is available in all selected Tecno shops countrywide. Airtel, the smartphone network in partnership with Tecno. Stop at nothing.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Bara and Jinja.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Look no further. Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. We have revised our rates, and now sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa, and to the rest of the world has never been more affordable. Plus, you can trust Airtel Money to get your money where it needs to go quickly and safely. Simply dial *185# and start sending money. Switch to Airtel Money today and experience unbeatable rates and top-notch services for all your local and international money transfer needs. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome back from the break, and we're glad that you're still with us here on UBC News Tonight. I'm Lauryn Masiika Kazimoto and Elizabeth Nakakwani on Sign Language. Now, in more news tonight, the Minister of ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, has reiterated that government is in talks with media house owners all over Uganda on how to address the issue of welfare and remuneration among journalists in the country. Minister Baryomunsi said this during the commemoration of World Press Freedom Day that was held at Golden Tulip in Kampala, highlighting that poor pay of journalists has resulted into unprofessionalism in the media industry.
Over the years, experts have expressed concerns about the welfare of media practitioners in Uganda, observing that many journalists are poorly paid and not compensated for extra hours. In his speech during the commemoration of World Press Day, ICT Minister Dr. Chris Baryomunsi stressed that as government, they are to engage media owners, majority of who run media houses, about journalists' salaries.
And maybe this compromises their professionalism, their integrity, and that could explain why sometimes some of the practitioners write false stories, write blackmail, malicious stories, which sometimes can put them in collision with the law, and it's an area which we need to work on so that we improve the welfare of our journalists. And our appeal is to our journalists to always to stick to the ethics and the professional conduct required, and also to ensure that they are patriotic in reporting.
Moses Watasa, the Commissioner for Communication at the Ministry of ICT, said they are working with stakeholders like Uganda Media Sector Working Group on the terms and conditions set before hiring journalists.
We are going to develop a system which eases access to facts and figures about government policies, priorities, projects, such that if you are an editor, let's say for UBC, and we are sure you are an editor, then you can have access codes to easily access current information about programs. But even ourselves, that system is going to make it easier for us to upload information. For example, we are going into the manifesto week next week, which starts on 12th. So by now, or in the few days leading to then, we should have uploaded all the information, so that if you are UBC, you can easily download and do your good stories, news stories, features, background material. All of this we are going to load on the ICT-enabled system once we complete the developing of the same.
Viola Ajok, the Senior Program Manager at the American Bar Association, explained that some journalists are not paid. Some still take bribes and do not follow up their cases whenever someone tries to represent them in courts of law.
Journalists are not being facilitated well, that is true. But the issue that many journalists face, that when they are maybe beaten or their equipment is stolen and then you have someone representing them, they never follow up these cases. And when they are lucky and they get someone to represent them, many journalists would rather take their short way.
As the world celebrates the World Press Freedom Day, in the vulnerable Karamoja region of Uganda, the work of journalists is hindered by insecurity, stakeholders' interferences, poor road networks and limited facilitation too hard and insecure to reach areas and other obstacles while executing their work. The complex situation at hand has led to the increasing number of armchair journalists in the volatile Karamoja region. Narrating their ordeal, journalists operating in Karamoja appeal to their employers to fully facilitate their operations to ease accessibility to hard and insecure areas of Karamoja sub-region.
Karamoja sub-region is an area with rich news stories ranging from insecurity, hunger, poverty, alcoholism, plundering of minerals, unique culture, tourism, pastoralism, among others, but very insecure for one to practice journalism. Field journalists move with money just in case of an emergency and simple bites to convince warriors in case they run into an ambush to save their lives. Sometimes journalists have to foot long distances due to poor road networks. Others sleep in the bush and survive on raw meat and blood from livestock as a way to survive.
And we ran short of food. I had nothing to do but survive on raw meat and blood. We're drinking water from the child of a cow, squeezing it and then taking it as water.
Veteran journalist Oladeson Wanyama has been reporting from Karamoja for over 20 years.
It's the Kenya border where warriors almost, that was in 2010, warriors almost killed us. But again, we were also saved by a few Turkanas who called the other people not to shoot.
Wanyama is among the journalists caught up in raids and ambushes by cattle wrestlers, facing off government soldiers in crossfires while on duty. Hope Owini Ochero, a news reporter at Hotel FM in Kotido, recalls how him and other colleagues survived being killed by warriors on the 17th September 2022.
Beating us. They are the ones who are beating us, and then there are others who are, checking the pockets. After we surrendered everything, so they were checking to see whatever was remaining. They took the cameras. We had a big camera. The camera was taken, phones, money, documents, national IDs. For my colleague, they took his driving permit. What next could happen? Are they going to shoot us? Are they going to kill us? Then a vehicle came. Some vehicle came, a white vehicle. The person was driving. He was even speeding. I think he didn't even notice what was happening. So when they saw the vehicle, they jumped back in the bush.
Journalist Peter Kelo decided to resign from work after surviving in several ambushes staged by warriors.
A colleague of mine, is not from Karamoja here. He became too scared. Work in Karamoja became very difficult. It became very difficult for him to work as a journalist here, very insecure. He was, psychologically tortured. He even had to resign from his job. He still had a very long-running contract and was earning good money.
Here in the volatile Karamoja, not even radio presenters are spared. Josephat Jones Epong, a UBC Torre radio presenter in Moroto, will never forget 5th March this year as Manchester United faced off with Liverpool.
UBC News Tonight. Now, school administrators for Namutumba seed schools want government to speed the construction of perimeter walls to provide security to students in seed schools. We have more details in this report.
The Ministry of Education and Sports has finished the commissioning of 62 out of 177 seed schools of the first batch and completed construction of 88 schools. According to reports, most of these seed schools lack perimeter walls, yet have boarding sections. Namutumba Seed School in Namutumba district, with a population of over 800 students, is not exceptional.
Our school lacks a fence, and that makes it just open. That means insecurity, and we would really seek help in some of the areas like fencing. We have a population which has grown to about 800, over 800, and yet we have only two labs which we use but we have other subjects, chemistry, agriculture, we need more labs.
The head teacher in Namutumba State School, Imelda Sabila Ariokot, says the school is facing a challenge of power outage with availability of a weak solar panel.
This school has a solar system, but it is weakening, so we need electricity. We have already the poles are there, but we seek help. Our area MPs have promised, but it is taking long. So those are some of the challenges that we have here.
The school also is poorly understaffed and lack land for expansion.
Are you only interested in remunerations and not minding about your productivity? We salute whoever opposes the raising at the workplace.
The 2023 National Demographic Conference has opened in Kampala with a challenge to the youth to embrace the new government anti-poverty programs like the parish development model to improve their social and economic lives. The Minister for Information and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, presided over the opening of the two-day conference on behalf of Prime Minister Robin Anabanja, which is taking place at Hotel Africana.
Uganda's development agenda targets of Vision 2040 envisaged in the National Development Plan 3 is likely to be affected if the current fertility and infant mortality situation is not addressed, a situation which calls for more investments in the country's reproductive health services. Officiating at the opening ceremony of the 2023 National Demographic Conference on behalf of the Prime Minister Robin Anabanja, the Minister for Information and National Guidance, Chris Baryomunsi, said that there is need for the youth to embrace government anti-poverty programs like the parish development model to improve their social and economic lives.
We are sending to parishes for our people to borrow and engage in enterprises. 30% of that money is dedicated to the young people. So harnessing the demographic dividend and the promotion of parish development model are related and they reinforce each other. And therefore this program of PDM is one of those measures that the government has come up with to address issues of poverty, to improve quality of life of the people, and relevantly address challenges the young people in this.
The two-day conference, organized by the National Population Council at Hotel Africana with funding from UNFPA, is running under the theme Building a Competitive Human Capital for Wealth Creation in a World of 8 billion.
We must move from rhetoric to action, put favorable conditions in place, and invest our time and resources where it matters most.
In other words, how do we take advantage of the increasing population, the burden in the young people? Are they, as human beings, are they getting the education, the skills, and are the jobs there so that they are able to earn? In other words, this country can take advantage of the ever-increasing population instead of it being a burden. If we give them education, skills, and jobs, we can turn them into an asset for the country.
Uganda's population is estimated to be 47 million, 76% of whom are below 30 years of age, whereas the world population clocked 8 billion people on 15th November 2022. A number of stakeholders, including government officials, religious leaders, civil society representatives, donors, media, among others, are attending the conference, which will discuss matters on how to end teenage pregnancies, child marriages, school dropouts, women empowerment, among others.
Thank you very much.
The Ministry of Works and Transport has received an updated feasibility study on the development of the new Kampala port at Bukasa. The study, conducted by Gulf Consultants, highlights the project's financial viability, assesses environmental and social impact, evaluates the current state of infrastructure and its role in the East African trade, among others. Dennis Segoa reports.
Why we are reviewing the feasibility study, we want to see at this point in time that the construction of this port is economically viable financially sustainable and technically feasible. And indeed, when we looked at the study, we have realized that the construction of the port is economically viable.
Bukasa Port is envisaged to be an ultra-modern facility that will handle international cargo only and mainly from the central corridor that is served by the Port of Dar es Salaam in Tanzania.
This corridor, at its height in 1995, used to transport up to 60% of Uganda-bound cargo. However, today it is transporting less than 5%, even though the cargo volumes have grown, meaning that most of the transport is done by road. Therefore, the need for reliable and multiple accesses to the sea for the Great Lakes landlocked country is more pressing now more than ever.
The port will not only serve Central Corridor per se, it will serve both the Central Corridor and the Northern Corridor. But more emphasis is more on Central Corridor. Why? Because most of the traffic, analysis showed that most of the traffic is higher by the Central Corridor if it is really provided by those vessels.
With an estimated project cost of over euro 200 million or approximately 820 billion Ugandan shillings, Bukasa Port implementation has faced delays. Benon Kajuna, the Director of Transport at the Ministry of Works and Transport, sheds more light on the matter.
We still need some more 5 or so billion to complete the compensation. But finance has been able to come in and sort out that challenge of the financing. We also had the challenges of getting a contractor to do the swamp reclamation and surcharging. Because the bids which we are receiving were a bit expensive. So it took us some more time and we wasted some time on that.
According to stakeholders, the revival of the Central Corridor transport via Lake Victoria requires efficient ports and intermodal facilities.
I think it's going to really strengthen the connectivity, and for the business community, having that alternative to the sea is going to be a great relief.
The total forecasted traffic from all directions is 1 million tons in 2025, with an estimated long-term tonnage throughput to 4.4 million tons in 2045. Dennis Engola and Charlotte Muge for UBC Business.
Now, away from the Bukasa port development, Victoria University has launched a career readiness and employability program aimed at producing holistic graduates with requirements ready for employment in any work environment. This program launch was held at Victoria University in Kampala.
We now toast to the great achievement of career readiness and employability program launch.
What you do, or what the university has to do, is to create that situation like the Victoria University model way of teaching. You do one model in a month, and I will finish this one. So you give a chance to the students to go out there or help them to go and get placed, get internship as they study, they are working. So that time they are gaining experience. That is why, the Victoria University students will be better in the market out there. Why? Because they have been placed and they have gained some experience which most, managers want.
We train students that some of them may not be consumed or deployed within our economy, because most of the time people tend to blame government every day that it has not created jobs. Sometimes it's not government that is going to create all the jobs in this country. No single government in the world that has ever created all the jobs that the people have of that particular country. But the government creates an environment where people are able to be creative, innovative, and then put in place different opportunities where they can employ themselves and others. Now we are looking at nurses, midwives, dentists, medical doctors, you name it, to also go and get opportunities. The professionals go to the UK, settle there, make money there, and remit those finances back to their country to be able to take care of their families, their communities, and develop the country. We will have an organization here in Uganda. It's called Premier Recruitment, working with us, working with CWG Recruit, which is now going to place these people in the UK. They are offered accommodation there.
So we've got all that. In the coming weeks, we'll have an institution within Victoria University that will assist people, any candidates that want to move out to the UK with this examination.
Career Readiness and Employability Program.
UBC News Tonight takes a short breather and returns with the latest in business.
Jerry Con! Hey, Master Blaster! Touch him, man! Buy Jerry Con with muscle! Those ones who say go is for you only. Mundava! Best movies I teach you! When I'm going to the Muscari, because of the cover that is very far. Is you serious? Is serious you? What? Yeah? You step it on it. Add kilometers to your legs, and you get your sugar. We buy meat from Umaru, and Umaru refuses to give you enough meat. Mama! Show him that they don't joke with you.
Okukakaluka n'okulungi kwetaagako omuntu akuyambako n'olwekyo tujja kukuteerawo embeera esaanidde osobole okukola ekisinga awamu teri kitulema.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Bara and Jinja.
This is a quick call. I'm almost out of minutes.
Why rush through such important conversations? Airtel Uganda has made it possible for you to call across all networks in Uganda at the best rates with the new Bona voice bundles. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with minutes valid for calls on all networks. Dial *100*1#. Select voice bundles and select Bona voice bundles today. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back. Now into the business scene. The Microfinance Support Center, headed by the State Minister of Finance in charge of microfinance, Honorable Haruna Cheune Kasolo, has launched a Katale Loans product to support market vendors' businesses. The program has started with the Nakasero market in Kampala with plans to expand to more markets in the future. Mark Wadulo with the report.
During the launch of the Katale Loans product, Minister Kasolo criticized consumers who do not prioritize saving and urged the vendors to save rather than spend their money on eating out.
Okay? Njawukanye n'emitwalo gyange era simanyi we ngenda gijja okugizaawo. Oba muntegeera.
The product is a revolving fund that will be given to individuals rather than SACCOs. The interest rate on the loans will be 1% per month, and the program will be overseen by a committee made up of the LC1 chairman, market leaders, and representatives from the Microfinance Support Center.
Naye njagala omuntu alina ekifo kye waagira ki kubanga ekyo ekifo kifuna wano e Nakasero kya bbeeyi si kyekyo era pulogulaamu eno tugenda kukolagana butereevu ne ba LC1 chairpersons butereevu era mu ofiisi zaabwe mwe tugenda okukolera.
Prospective beneficiaries must register themselves in a registered association of 30 individuals each
Each association must obtain a certificate and all the members must register with a national ID. If and when a borrower requires a loan, at least 4 members of the association must guarantee the loan, and the borrower's stall in the market will be used as security.
Almost 1 year wekitiibwa Honorable Kasolo okufuna certificates ezo naye zifuuse embaga. So challenges mbadde njogenda muganda wange annyonnyodde kati saagala nnyo okuba nze njaga kutereeza njaga kwebaza tukozese ffe ku ground tuleete results tukuyambeko.
This initiative aims to expand the number of beneficiaries from the microfinance support center's various programs, and the Katalia loan product will be rolled out in various markets in Kampala first, followed by arcade operators and border riders in future phases. The Katalia loan product is a step towards achieving the government's goal of fostering entrepreneurship and innovation in Uganda. It is expected that more businesses will be launched and jobs created as a result of this initiative. Wadulo Makanol, GBC News, at Nakasero Market in Kampala.
The Nigeria-Uganda Business Summit, organized by the Uganda National Chambers of Commerce and Industry and the Nigerian High Commission, along with other partners, has sought to address trade issues between the two countries. It brought together business leaders, policymakers and other stakeholders from both countries to discuss various issues affecting trade between Uganda and Nigeria here in Kampala. Makwadulo with more.
Some of the topics discussed included investment opportunities, trade policies, infrastructure and transportation, among others.
As Africa, we have to trade amongst ourselves, but how do we make transportation and logistics very convenient so that it enhances the investments?
According to statistics presented at the summit, the balance of trade between the two countries is largely in favor of Nigeria, seeing imports from the West African country take over 80% of our trade value.
Generally speaking, in terms of political relation, diplomatic relation, cultural relation, we do not have any problem. It is just this economic and trade. And that is why we are trying to emphasize that this is the time for us to wake up from our slumber. Let us bring the two communities together. Let us facilitate for them as government officials to come up with legal and technical platform for them to be able to do business together.
There have been various challenges hindering the growth of trade between the two countries. Some of these challenges include cumbersome trade procedures, non-tariff barriers, and inadequate infrastructure founded on a weak trade agreement.
General lack of awareness of the availability of the market in West Africa. Secondly, the cost of doing business between Uganda and Nigeria currently remains very high, essentially because of the difficulties in transportation, because of the existence of non-tariff barriers, and because, as we speak right now, both Uganda and Nigeria have not really leveraged on the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, which is supposed to create a conducive environment to scale up trade between our two countries.
During the summit, both countries agreed to work together to address these challenges and create a more conducive environment for trade and investment. They also pledged to deepen economic ties and explore new areas of cooperation.
The main interaction we have with Nigeria is really out of the music and entertainment industry and also the textile and fabric industry. That's the main. And you can see last year we only had a volume of about only $25 million US.
This is just the first step, okay? We are going to organize virtual meetings, physical meetings, and we are going to ensure that whatever gains we are coming up with from here, we take it home.
The need for both countries to leverage the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement to close the trade gaps and promote intra-African trade was a key highlight.
The Ugandan ambassador to Nigeria talked about the experience of a Nigerian company that was trying to get goods into Uganda, having to go through, Dubai and through Europe and then to Mombasa and then back to Uganda. These are the issues that we have to tackle. The infrastructure, bridging the infrastructural gap within Africa. and opening up, our roadways, our railways to allow the free movement of goods within the African continent.
Wadulo Makanold, UBC News in Kampala.
And now into the world of sports. Uganda has capacity to compete at the world stage. These were statements made by the national netball head coach. Team continues with training ahead of the July Netball World Cup in South Africa. Amon Gabo filed this report.
Since the national netball team started non-residential training for the upcoming Netball World Cup, and results are visible. The zeal and hard work from the players is seen in the ways they play, knowing that there is limited slots to fight for. And before heading to South Africa, where the World Cup will be held on the 28th of July, numerous trials are expected, both locally and on the continent, to shake and shape the team for the final selection.
Really need, no matter the situation, but all we have to do is to adjust with the coaches, do what we're supposed to do so that we get there. And as a player, I believe I can make it to the final list, because once you believe, whatever your mind can believe, it can achieve. So with hard work, and if I put in action what the coaches are telling me to do, I believe I can make it, and it's my prayer and my wish to ever make it to the final list to the World Cup.
Yes, we just need to focus and train hard. I know what I'm supposed to do, because my problem, I already know it. It is the strength and the power and the elevation. So I'm willing to do all that and to go with coaches what they are telling me.
The climax of the National Netball League means that full commitment of the team members who hold double training sessions daily. Uganda is in the same group with giants New Zealand and Trinidad and Tobago, familiar opponents in their last meetings, and being ranked 4th on the continent and 8th in the world. Indeed, there is need to protect the national pride.
"64 schools from the different regions of Uganda have been drawn into 8 groups that will compete for the 2023 Uganda Secondary Schools Sports Association Football Boys Championship. The draws were held at the Lugogo Indoor Arena, and the competition will take place at the Nyakasura School from the 9th to the 20th of May 2023.
The national draws for the 2023 Uganda Secondary Schools Sports Association Football Boys Championship were held today at the MTN Arena in Lugogo. 64 schools from the different regions of Uganda were pitted in 8 groups, A to H, with 8 teams each group. The schools reached the draws by qualifying through regional tournaments, with the winners making it to the draws.
I'm happy that we have done draws for the national football competitions for secondary schools. We are going to have 64 teams in Nyakasula, in Fort Potro. I am giving a message to everyone: come and support the children. The Ministry of Education and Sports now is targeting talent identification and development, and want to do more of grassroots sports. Therefore, the children, I encourage the students who are going to play to put in effort. There will be coaches looking for players to join the national team. Please do your best.
Debutants at Mengo Senior Secondary School are in Group B alongside the hosts Nakasura, who got a bye qualification. Reigning champions at St. Mary's Chitende are in Group A, and record champions at Chibuli, who have 11 titles, are in Group H.
We really prepared for this since last year, because last year we never participated in qualifiers. We were organizing the team, We said let us lose a year, but we come up with something good.
Other notable schools in the competition are Budo SS, Kawempe Muslim, St. Henry's Chitovu, and Uganda Matters High School in Rubaga. Participants will start reporting to Nyakasura School from the 6th of May 2023, and the tournament will run from the 9th of May to the 20th of May 2023. Grace Joyce Kemigisa, UBC News.
Well, that wraps it up. Thank you so much for watching UBC News Tonight live. We've enjoyed your company. I'm Lauryn Masiika Kazimoto and Elizabeth Nakakoni on Sign Language Interpretation. Now on behalf of the crew working behind the scenes, we wish you a good night.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Super Soul Sisters, and we're very glad that you've got to join us once again. I'm personally very excited with our Super Soul Sister tonight. You'll find out eventually, but my name is Lauryn Kajumba, and thank you for joining us. With me tonight is Dina Kamengo. Now for me, I'm very excited. I'm actually nervous, okay? But it's going to be a fun interview. For me, she's very special as well because she taught me in high school. She taught me literature. So to have our Super Soul Sister today that I actually have come to meet before is something that I'm very, very excited about, and you're going to know a whole lot about her, to learn something from her. Like I said, we always bring women who are meant to inspire you here. And you're very welcome.
Thank you, Rowena. Yes. I am so glad, so honored. Yes. I don't know where to start, to end, where the middle is. Yes. For me, I don't know. But your viewers will differentiate. I hope so.
Yes, they will.
But
Thank
I
you for
am
making
so,
time.
so excited to share with you, with the women, my journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you are a teacher.
Yes.
But now you're also in media,
yes.
You're a sub-editor, right?
Yes.
At New Vision,
yes.
Publishing and Printing.
Yes.
And that is something that, of course, I'm also excited about because there's a journey there I missed, there's a part I missed.
Yes.
But before we get into that, and of course some people have been seeing you on air, they've come to see your face and know who you are. But who is Dina? Before we get into the person we are talking to right now, we always start by knowing who you are, who you were born to, where you grew up from, and things like that.
Who is Dina? I am Dina Nalubega Kamengo.
Yes.
The Kamengo I now rarely use, but yes, it is also my name.
Yes.
And of course that's my husband's name, you know.
Yes.
I am a teacher, like you've said. So now I changed the credentials. I say I am a teacher by profession and a journalist by practice. Because along the way, I know there is that bit that you said you missed.
Yes.
The last time you saw me, I was in the classroom. But I left the classroom, I think, about 2012, generally. And after you, the big ones, I went and also taught the very little ones. And for about 2 years. Then I left the classroom and then entered media. So that's where I've been for about a decade now, close to 10 years.
Nice.
Hey.
So let's go back. Who are your parents and where were you born?
Hey, Rowena. One, I want to say, and actually, when I was thinking through, of course, you know I have watched Super Soul Sisters for a long time. So I started asking myself, if you're asked
that question,
I realized I was raised by a village. I was raised by a village. But, of course, everyone has biological parents. My mother is Lauryn Masiika Kazimoto. My father is Lyman Lubega. And I